Do I believe in aliens? We claim we are one planet out of millions, so the chances that we are alone are pretty slim. But you know what? I don't really know. It's hard to wrap my head around it, I guess. But why don't we assume for a moment that aliens do exist? We'll assume that we have other beings on other planets who walk and live and eat just like we do. So, now that we have the aliens, why don't we assume that they want to pay us a visit? What if they get bored on their own planets and realize that we have a big blue and green planet over here and wanted to see what we were like? So the aliens begin a journey towards Earth, a journey which would reveal our true intentions and our real selves. The aliens pass through space, go past the planets, the galaxies, the comets, solar systems, and finally they reach Earth. As they get closer and closer, the aliens begin to see our objects more clear. The aliens see our airplanes, our highways, our cars, and our technology, our massive companies, our incredible buildings, our clothing. From up there, the aliens probably, they probably believe that we're doing something right. All this advanced technology, we must be very high tech. They probably think that we know what we're doing. We must be doing something right. We must have it all together. As the aliens continue getting closer and closer, they pass through all the atmospheric gas. At the end, the aliens actually arrive. They touch down on Earth. So before, the aliens had a bird eye view, and now they are actually here. So what do they discover? Well, I would argue that the aliens now discover in a moment that Earth is not what it looks like. The aliens see death, pollution, war, brokenness, heartbreak, racism, injustice, amongst a host of other things. Which isn't to say that the great things that they saw weren't here. They just masked our evil, our brokenness. Now another question must be asked. What do the aliens do now? Well, I would argue that in this story, the aliens would now choose to leave. After all, if their intention in coming to Earth was to examine and discover who we really are, why would they remain after realizing how horrible and depraved and broken we are? Now our aliens leave Earth and begin a great journey back to their home, depressed, dejected, and disappointed after coming all the way here, only to discover that we fell terribly short of what they had ever hoped for. Why don't we look at a different being? One who is bigger than the planets we all live on. One who created the planets and the people and the aliens who lived on them. Let's assume for a moment that God, who created us, pays us a visit. The one who has authority over us and an even greater interest in humanity as the one who made us. God is coming to Earth. God goes a little bit of a different route versus the aliens, but he still comes. He pays us a visit. When he arrives, what does he see? Death, pollution, war, brokenness, heartbreak, everything which the aliens saw. Now, another question must be asked. How does he respond? Does he leave? No, he doesn't. Why? Well, because unlike the aliens, God did not come to see who we were. He came because he knew. God knew our current way of life wasn't working, which is why he came. So he remains on Earth to show us how to live. He spends years on Earth teaching us, healing us, and loving us. However, at the end of his time here, one more thing has to happen. You see, because unlike the aliens who express disappointment with our current human condition, God not only expresses it, but he actually has a right to punish us for it. Because God taught us, helped us, and revealed a better way, But at the end of the day, we must have a penalty for our wrongdoing. And somebody has to pay it. So, who pays it? Not the aliens who are long gone by now and who couldn't do it anyways. No, God is the one who pays it. He pays our death penalty so we didn't have to. He carries all of our brokenness, suffering, and hate on himself and dies because of a death penalty he didn't even earn. Now our story isn't quite over, but before we proceed, one thing must be addressed. And that is, our story is true. No, not meaning that aliens visited us and we never noticed, but meaning God came down thousands of years ago to pay our debt. His name was Jesus Christ. He taught us in his time here, and at the end, he died in your place. He died in my place. All because he loved us. Loved us so much he didn't want us to die and was willing to do it instead. But like I mentioned earlier, our story isn't over. It doesn't end in death. No, actually, Christ comes back to life 3 days later, and he now provides life to anyone who chooses to place their belief and hope in him. Not only a new and correct way of living here on earth, but eternal living alongside him in heaven. It's love. Real, eternal, lasting love, which paid our debt so that we could be with him in heaven. This is God. This is the God we serve. And this is the gospel.